our discussion, and in our discussion I intend to talk about profile writing. Now, when we talk about profile writing, of course we imply the aspect of composition. So by definition, a profile is a piece of writing that gives details about someone's life history. Now, there are basically two types of profiles, and these are number one, autobiography, and number two, biography. The question is, what is an autobiography? An autobiography is a profile where an individual writes about his or her life history. So details about this type of a profile include 1, place of birth, 2, parents' occupation, 3, career, 4, future plans, and 5, education background. We may also ask the same question, say, what is a biography? Now, a biography is a profile where an individual decides to write about someone's life history. Details, of course, on how to write a biography are just the same as those of autobiography, because they include the place of birth, education background, the career, parents' occupation, and future plans. What are some of the important factors that must be considered when writing a profile? There are basically 5 important aspects that must be considered when writing a profile. And these are number 1, the place of birth. Number 2, education background. Number 3, the career. Number 4, parents' occupation. And number 5, the future plans. Now, if we get back to the first one, the place of birth, this of course includes issues to do with where one was born, the year they were born, the day, the time, the place, the chief, the village or the town, and all other aspects that which talks about, basically someone's place of birth or activities at the time of birth. In education background, of course, here one is required to write about the elementary life in school, meaning the life from grade 1 up to grade 12, and of course activities that may spring in at what level, what position did you occupy, what activity did you do in school, and many more other issues that involves with the matters that has to do with the elementary education. In education, in career, at this point, of course, one is required to write about, what their profession is, how much experience they have, what positions have they accumulated in these skills that they have gained from universities and colleges, and of course, what positions and influence did they occupy or did they have at these levels. So all these things will fall under career. While parents' occupation, of course, this has to do with talking about the parents' names, what their career was, how much experience they accrued in their work, what they basically do, and the other information that may relate to talking about them in the context of the positivity. And finally, the future plans, of course, this has to do with the what one intends to do, in the future. Do they intend to go for further studies? Do they intend to have children? Do they intend to have or to do other great works? So that is what has to do with the future plans. So basically, when we are talking about profile writing, we are simply referring to either writing an autobiography or writing a biography. The distinction between the two is what we have already indicated, is that in an autobiography, one is required to write his or her life history with much consideration of these 5 aspects, because those are the 5 key things that will help you to come up with a profile. While in biography, the same aspects that we have talked about, are so important to consider. So, at grade 10, children are introduced not writing biographies, short biographies. But when they go to grade 12, they are required here, of course, to write advanced profiles where they can give more details. But at grade 10, as they are beginning, the idea is simply to introduce them to what they need to know as they write profiles. When they go to grade 12, of course, the idea is to introduce them to advanced profile writings where they will even keep the limit, they will give more detours, and of course they will bring more elaborative aspects such as these. Now the best way to teach this profile is simply to go to magazines, look at much profiles that have been written, and begin to compare with these aspects that you have talked about. And also giving children to write what they call auto books, okay, where they will choose to write about various individuals. Excitingly, of course, you can tell children to get or buy books, even a 40-page book, where they cover it nicely, indicate it and label it. From there, you tell them to begin gathering, life histories of other people, and also their own, and even give, others to write about their autobiography, so that they should have a rich experience on how profiles can be written. This will help them, to grow advanced ways of how to write profiles. I think for today, I thought that we should talk about profile writing. Thank you so much.